Hello, 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 everyone. Mike Arnold here, co-founder of Pat Trading Partners, along with Bob Iacchino. How is everyone doing today? Wavy recession rally. It's just buy everything. You think it's going to 4,200? Okay. Davey, good morning. Good morning, Patrick. Fantastic. We get more speakies today. More speakies from our wonderful leadership. Way. Hey, Jacob, good morning. Good morning, Waka Waka. Good morning, Mickey78. The market is drunk on hopium. Well, it is what it is. That's why we're still in tactical trading mode. My head's about to explode if one more person asks me if the bottom's in. And if one more person says, you know what? I'm literally, if somebody comes on here and asks bullish or bearish today, I'm canceling the live stream. Good morning. Did anyone check on Kathy selling coin at the bottom and Teladoc got wiped? How do you know coin's at the bottom? It bounced, but I don't think coin's at the bottom. Kathy should have sold that long. Kathy should have sold most of her holdings a long time ago, but I don't think coin's at the bottom. Coin's getting a bounce, just like crypto's getting a bounce, but coin is not done yet. Don't mistake a bounce. So one of the things, even, the people who post the inverse Kramer things, long term is one thing, but short, like they'll say something like, they'll ignore certain stocks, like they'll say buy this, it'll go down for a couple of days, and they'll post, so it's down 8%, and then it'll rally, and you don't hear about it again. Now, I'm not saying inverse Kramer's wrong, because Kramer's just a, if you want to do the inverse thing, inverse Kramer's great, but you can't make, all right, what's your time frame? Like if I say, double bottom in whatever, and then it gets stopped out. People say, see, double bottoms don't work. That's just an absurd statement. Or if I say this is a monthly double bottom or a double top, and we should see lower prices over the next 6 months, and then you get a one-day rally, people say, see, your double top didn't work. Well, it's a monthly double top. So don't mix up time frames. Also, don't mix up time frames with bottoms and tops in general. You can have short-term rallies within long-term down moves. You can have pullbacks within long-term up moves. Good morning, Eric. Good morning, Options 22. Just keep throwing money in the longs and you will make money. Eventually it's just your positioning and the valuation and the timing. Market bad, go long. Company bad, go long. Company bankrupt, go long. Well, that's especially true. That it's by the bankruptcies. Economy bad, go long. Fed talking, go long. Hey, Waka Waka, you've got the strategy. Waka Waka, and that's exactly why we're not at a long-term bottom yet. Because I've literally, my head was going to explode because I get stuck. When you have 5 dogs, you got to do multiple dog walks. So between yesterday afternoon and this morning, I'm ready to move to a cabin in the middle of nowhere. Because if I get stopped by one more person who says, I heard, and people who shouldn't be following this, like literally, I heard the Fed's going to cut soon. They're done raising rates. My financial advisor talked to me yesterday and said the Fed's going to pivot soon and it's time to buy. It's time to re-go all in on the markets. Literally, I'm having people following this stuff, and then they're like, everybody's telling me the bottom's in. Okay, if everybody's saying the bottom's in, A, we'll probably get a stupid rally. B, the bottom's not in. And here's the thing. Oh, we're in a recession. Well, we've already gone through. You want the smart stuff. Don't listen to these people who still say they've redefined recession. We talked about that the other day. It's not been redefined. It's not been 2 quarters for quite some time. Now, 2 quarters is a bad thing. But it really doesn't matter. It's what Bob was talking about with the whole recession. You know what really matters? If the consumer's getting hit by inflation, especially the mid-range to lower-end consumer, they're having to pull back for extended periods of time. Doesn't matter what you call it. And this is the funny thing. Unless the Fed does pivot and starts making easy money again, companies will get hit. And even that, companies will get hit, but it's just like, oh, if the PE multiples start expanding again because the Fed goes starts cutting and pumps the system full of easy money, and it's what we talked about. Then the next one will be absolutely horrible. Until that happens, until I get a long-term buy signal, I'm in long-term bearish mode. I'm not worried about calling a bottom or a top. I'm worried about trading the probabilities, and that's what people don't friggin' get. Trade the probabilities. Stop worrying about capturing every move. This is why, this is why they're smart people, but this is also why this is not a 100,000 subscriber channel, because people don't get that simple fact. They want to know, was the bottom in? Is the top in? Is this? What are your statistical probabilities? Trade the probabilities. And people, I don't understand what that means. I just want to know if the bottom's in. Ugh. If you see this channel disappear because my head blew up. Hey, good morning, Anissa. Sorry, I didn't mean the actual bottom. Just meant I'm not picking on anybody in here. I'm not picking on anybody in here. My head's going to explode because I can't even go on a dog walk anymore without... Is the bottom in? Oh, good morning, Dr. Michael. Glad to say I haven't seen you in a little bit. Hope you're doing well. Hark somehow is still rallying. I don't understand it. You're not supposed to understand it because people are still buying junk. This is what happens. Market on average, we're bottom 4 to 5 more months before the end of the recession. And if anybody thinks it's already the end of a recession, we're gonna manifest that we're not going to go in. Okay, we're all going to sit and manifest we're not going into a recession, even though I've been talking for a few months. I already think we're technically in it or tipping in it already, but it doesn't matter what I think. Got to still trade the probabilities. Good morning, Lauren. Was PCE bad too? Go long. Even that, which is a factor for Fed pivot, yet market still goes up. Market is this is what again. I've traded multiple bear markets, and this is what goes on in the middle of it. It's even worse this time because starting after the 2008, 2009 one, it was let's just give the helicopter money, the juice to everything, and everybody's addicted to the juice. So everybody thinks everything's got to pivot, and the Fed's got to juice it back up. And you know what? That's just actually pathetic. When you can't stand on your own, when you have interest rates still this low and companies can't function without free or cheap money to stand on anything, that's just absolutely pathetic. And when the ultimate unraveling comes, it was going to be really ugly. Yeah, just ride the longs with the bulls. I agree. My frustration is it's tactical trading, and I'm getting tired of hearing every friggin' day, buy stocks. Should I just is the low in? No, and then I say not according to my stuff. They're like, oh well, then they just want to argue with me. Then don't ask me. I don't care. You trade you. I don't care what anybody does. So that's why I probably shouldn't have this channel anymore. By the way, GDP coming in. Yeah, I don't know. You know what? Here you go. Because I got to do this. Subscribe. There we go. Done. If you don't like what I have to say, don't subscribe. If you don't like what I say, dislike the video and unsubscribe. Because I could care less at this point. GDP growth rate, it's still advanced. I heard again this morning, oh, that's only the advanced numbers. It's not final. That's going to go back to positive. Fine. You know what? It's the advanced numbers. Don't care. It's still not good. But that doesn't matter. It's just a mere fact that people are hurting. The inflation's taking its toll. And it doesn't matter what you say. And, we'll just talk about that. Some core PCE, this actually forecast should have been 4.4. The most of the forecasts were closer to 4.4. Coming in line. Now, are we taking the PCE core being close to 2, so the Fed's going to pivot? That's the other thing that we talked about yesterday. The Fed's focusing on this is closer to 2 versus 5.2, so the Fed's going to pivot soon because this is going to hit their 2% inflation target. All right, whatever. This is an ugly number. GDP price index Q over Q advanced, that's still running incredibly hot. A percent over forecast. Initial jobless claims, slight miss, nothing big there. PC prices Q over Q advanced. That without the core, that is still, previous coming in line, still very hot. If they're gonna slow down there, I don't see them slowing down in September, but we'll see. Continuous jobless claims coming in slightly better. GDP sales Q over quarter better than the previous, but that's not a fantastic number. That doesn't really matter. By the way, keep in mind it doesn't matter because the Fed market will shrug it off anyways. Uh, I'm just interested to see where the manufacturing index, if it's still in negative, and how much this drops from the previous. And that's all we have with that. Heat map today. Facebook taking the shorts. Tesla rallying again off the or up again, potentially off the Inflation Reduction Bill, which is going to actually tell me how an inflation, whatever they're calling this friggin' bill in Congress, that gives more subsidies to stuff is going to tackle inflation, please. It's actually going to amplify inflation, you friggin' morons. But that's the thing we're in. 72, this is now since September, which remember, we're a long way off from there. We still have Jackson Hole coming up, so we have Fed comments and Jackson Hole. But favoring we're right now is 225 to 250, favoring 275 to 3, which would just be a 25 basis point hike. So that's where it sits for September. Alpha, we're pretty much at neutral mode. So continuing rallies, you get the selling effect into them. Slight until you really start getting above about closer to about 4,100. Then it starts picking up even more. And if we do get some sell-offs, it drops back into negative gamma. I didn't even look at some of the earnings this morning. I have to catch up with that. I was going through other stuff, but I'm just focused on Apple and Amazon after the close, and I want to see with Intel also. And then remember, tomorrow morning, we got some oils. Do not ignore, though, from an inflationary and consumer standpoint, Colgate, Palmolive, and Procter & Gamble. Do not ignore that. Just I don't care if you trade it or not. You should probably glance in on it just for the macro information. All right. Let me get back to some comments. Sorry, went on our... I don't like to go on rants, but my head's going to explode. Keep a stop. Well, I trade, longs. I'm saying short-term bullish, but yeah, I keep a tight stop. This is the other thing. I got comments, from stuff, and I keep saying, I tip more like when I do this kind of stuff. Minorly bearish below 3,900. You get a daily close below 37.89. I shift to big bearish, and that could change again if we push higher. And here's the other feedback I get, because I have some people around me that watch this channel. They're like, but I want to know what to sell up here. I don't want to wait till it gets to 39 or 3,800 to sell to get overly bearish again. It's literally, people are trying to call every top or bottom. And let me ask you a question. See, if we don't have, let's say the probability shifted up at 43.70, and we got the probabilities, hey, we're going to retest the highs. And we got like 70% probabilities we're going to retest the highs. You know what people would focus on? Well, I should have bought here. You didn't say buy here. You said buy up here. And instead of focusing on taking the chunk out of the high probability to move, people focus on, well, why didn't it say buy down here? Because you don't have the fucking probabilities down here. Sorry for swearing. This is what's absolutely driving me crazy. And this is, you get 100 people tuning in with, let's say we had people, let's say I just every day flip-flop, today's bullish, tomorrow's bearish. Well, eventually I'll be right to half the people half the time. And it's like the newsletter conundrum. You send out, you buy a big mailing list, you send out, this week will be red, this week will be green, and half the people you're wrong, and then the other, it dwindles down, but eventually you get to a core base that you were right 100% of the time, and they're all willing to pay you a bunch of money because you were right 100% of the time, but you weren't really right. You just fell for the scam of, you gave it the, I'll go into that more later. I'm ranting. Let's see. Good morning, Jake. Good morning, Remsafal. It's more that I'm frustrated with people not and this is just the markets we are in. And when you get everybody, literally the CNBC talking heads from the neighbors, it's like they're saying buy, they're saying sell. Here's what I'm watching. It's not there yet. My only, this is not a major topping signal, but the only thing I'm keeping an eye on going into the close is if we break below these 7 a.m. Central Time lows. It's not necessary. It's not close to double top yet. If you do push above 4,033 in the S&P, it's a double top. And then I will use those. I can't put them on now. I will use those projections. If not, I will use see, we're into a clear path move, so I'm going to use the key areas like the 4-hour rotation zone. Just trying to teach you because we don't have double levels yet. Why would I use that level? It's a breakout area with the 4-hour rotation zone and then some of the clear path targets down below. So that's how I'm watching it into the open. To the upside, looks like we might get the close above the 62.5, which then I'm focused on the 4,038 to 4,041, which would still be a potential double. If we really break out strong again today, 4,059 to 4,062. And then major target cluster, not necessary for today, is 4,076 to 77. There is my roadmap. Let's just take a look. Remember, we're coming up. Cycle couldn't get to the bottom and already the strong rotation. We played the rotation zone, little pullback into there. And this triggered a very aggressive buy. So would not be surprised to even see over the next couple weeks possibly hitting 4,100 from a statistical probability. Again, can't shift short, even minorly bearish. I mean, besides a little mini double top, but that's on a pullback. Can't get even short-term bearish below 3,900, and then the longer-term bearish is down in this area. NASDAQ, still no double because of all this choppy price action. You could map it down with the whole move, but if you want, the best way to see it is, can you spot it on the weekly? No, you can't spot it on the weekly, so it would be reversing this move. So this is, yes, a key pivot point, but you have other key stopping points that would be utilized as targets. Again, you get the move here. Here's what I'm watching. Going in the open, you have the lows. 12,480. We don't have a confirmed double top yet. That just means if we break below there, I'll be using different targets. I will start watching again that 4-hour rotation zone, even though we have a stopping point just below it. I will be watching that on the closing basis. My key level will be this, though, on a pullback, the first key level, and then, you know, we have a couple other stopping points down below, but I will also put on my retracement harmonics from this up move if it starts breaking down here, and fine-tune the levels with the retracement harmonics. And what I mean by that is I will take this and put it up here if this is indeed the high for the morning, and then I'll see you got the 50% level right here with the prior support area, so I'll fine-tune it with that. I'm just trying to teach you so you can do this on yourself should my head explode. Daily cycles turning up, weekly cycles, remember, we are still at the top and getting very close, not overbought here yet again, but this could easily overrun. We don't have the rollover, easily continuing to run to the other side of the rotation zone. The next major target's higher, 12,776. I will watch the rotation zone on a closing basis, but I will key off of about 12,850. Now remember, testing this high area, it did close above the 62.5% harmonic back here on the 19th. And to finish that statistically, we still have to hit 12,710. We got to 12,698, so I'm really still focused on that minor level. Dow, I'm just going to touch back briefly with this. Let me get to these other levels. These are the longer term just for the Dow. Minor will be a return of 32,377. More significant will be about 35,512 to 35,600, where I'll watch for another potential reversal, then 35,832. Remember, this has not closed above the 62.5 yet. So this is a very key level to watch on a closing basis, essentially 32,200. The pullback levels, not double top, but Dow is major support even back to 31,769. So it's got a lot to chew through to really go to the downside. Russell, 1866, pullback area about 1833. And then below that, this 1819. DAX, still caught in a range. So still favors because of the probabilities of another break to the upside. But your breakdown level is 13,032. So I'd just roughly go, I'd probably go slightly lower than that, about 13,025. Breakout, if you're playing it short term, is 13,300. Notes, again, look at this. I mean, this is already, we got the notes rallying up. Looks like it actually did close yesterday above without a redraw on the neckline. So this is a full triggered inverse head and shoulders. This is the move it's reversing. These could be short term if you're trying to play something aggressive, 121.26, 122.21, but the targets are 123.19, 125.07, 126.28. This is on a big basis. You can see it on the weekly. Actually, we could close this week also above the rotation zone. You're into an advanced clear path move. All right? So this is a weekly target also. We could close above the head and shoulders top on the weekly basis too. So does this have to unfold in the next few days? No. This could actually take until the September meeting to unfold. Just keep that in mind with timing. This is a long-term play. Your initial stop, what would prove it wrong? You can watch the walkaway trend line for people who know what that is. The higher probability, though, on this is a close below about 116.19 or a trade back below 115.26. Why are the stops so far away? Because that's what probability really makes this pattern very strong, because you could get pullbacks to retest this whole area, especially with cycles at the top on the weekly and at the top on the daily, without ever coming near those stops. And this is a long-term pattern. Crude, I'll get to more comments in a second. Crude, again, not interested until it can prove it can get above the daily rotation zone. So far, just in a big consolidation. We're caught between the key support and key resistance. So, and there's no great short-term trades right now on that. So sitting on the hands. Natural gas, we're finally getting to pause, letting this rotation zone. So unless we break below 838, I'm watching for a bottoming pattern. Gold, we have this big gap up. With cycles at the top, I'm going to watch for the pullback play, and then it looks like we might be getting a longer-term bottom in on gold. And that could be a stagflation play. Dollar index, still breakout or breakdown, still caught between this range. 106 with momentum down there or above 107.17. VIX, still we have a potential double on here. That's the only thing that tips me also into more bearish mode. With that, though, if we start breaking down below 22.35, going to watch for potential acceleration to the upside. Skip. Bitcoin, same thing as yesterday, 24,000 on a continued rally. What's interesting with the Bitcoin up at 80 basis point, NASDAQ sort of mixed. I'm going to be watching again for the next topping pattern once cycles start getting to the top again with Bitcoin. It's just with the risk off rally. Tesla, we have that EV stuff. With that how giving people more credits is going to tackle inflation, I don't know. But your targets are for Tesla, the gap fill, 866, and then the 50% harmonic, 885. Your key support at this point on in your retracement, we're gapping above this, but 836.45, and then back to about 822. We're going in the open. The Qs, Not much. This is we'll take a look at that after the close, but your next major target on the Qs are about 313. Your support level, I'd be watching roughly about 303 on the Qs. Don't get even I wouldn't get even moderately bearish until we break below 299 again for a gap fill, and then more bearish below 293. With that, let's just see how it's breaking into the open. Let's see if there's any comments. The old back mic is back. Sorry about that. Did you check the German inflation 0.9% month over month? Thank you, Christoph. Yeah, German inflation running very hot. Households have never been strong. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Oh, good. Thank you for being here, Tom Tom's Talk. You know what? That's an absurdly poor statement because that's actually not a true statement. Stocks only go up in the very long term. Most stocks go up in the very long term. That's an absurd statement because that does not help people actually. Would MO still be a weekly double bottom? No. It's not on the daily. It's not well formed on the weekly. I would just use your clear path targets on that. I would not use the double targets. And your first target would be 45.34. Yeah, and that's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up. And I'm not ranting about anything on the micro. We are. Thank you for bringing that up. Options 22, the last 15 window dressing. We are going to get window dressing going into the last couple days of the month. I forgot to mention that, so thank you. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Can I do Meta, please? Uh, Meta, and I'm not even going to look at the. Here's your levels. The only thing I watch on the bullish case is for a quick gap fill play before the next rollover play. Meta again. On your breakdown play, 150.61, 146.96, 136. The fundamentals are starting to look better. I'm watching for a longer term bottom, but we don't have it just yet. Weekly cycles at the top, so I'm watching for another push below the lows. But there is that potential gap fill to the upside in the short term should the markets keep shrugging off everything. And cycles still have on the 4 hour a little move to run, and on a daily they're at the bottom. So I would not be strongly playing the breakdown just yet until the cycles roll over again. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Oh boy. Oh, where are we sitting? Where I'm just scrolling through stuff. You have a great day, Michael. You're welcome, Eric. Let's see. Inverse head and shoulders on UK oil. Again, thank you everybody for being here. I'll just keep going today. Why not? Why not? Inverse head and shoulders on you. Yes, that is technically an inverse head and shoulders. Very good. Let me just see the. Yeah, you can. It's going to reverse that whole move. It's nearly a flat neckline. So if people are trying to learn inverse head and shoulders, there you go. You got shoulder, head, shoulder. Good spot in that. Good shot spot in that Mickey 78. It's virtually a flat neckline. I'd really be focused with this big hitch. I'd be focused and look at this first target at this minor hitch. And it's 114.13. I'd use a stop raise at 114. Just in front of that, about 113.95. And then your next target's at the next hitch. So those are definitely playable to the upside. You got to come up with the stops, though, too, because you got to be complete. You got to know where you're wrong. Always got to know where you're wrong. Close below 99.45 or a trade below 98.75, which is really interesting because that's the 200. So yeah, very good job. You're welcome, Ramsafal. You're welcome, Anissa. WBA looks decent bull play. Again, anybody left can come back and watch this later. Yeah, I actually sort of like this. You're in a long-term descending channel. You have a gap up here with the I actually use the target being this other side of the channel lines, and let's fine-tune it with some harmonics. Look at that. And the breakdown right here with this low, before even the gap fill with this harmonic area, I'd be targeting 40, 45. Especially you get a close above, it would be a shorter term play, but a close above 39.66 or intraday momentum up there. That could be an interesting play. There's no great bottoming signal there yet, but it could be a nice little breakout play. You are welcome, Jacob. You are welcome, John. You are welcome, Mickey. You are set stops. Have fun. Yep. You are welcome, Lauren. With that, I will wrap it up. Thank you for everybody joining. Sorry I went into the open. I will chat with everybody later. I need to catch up now. Bye for now.